Okay, it is frame chopping time. So I have got the frame up on my little workbench thing. I've made like a strut spacer, I guess. This is just a little piece of steel. It's not very thick. It's not box steel or anything like that. It's just a bit of scrap I had lying around. This one is a 10mm bolt, goes through here. This one was a 12mm bolt, goes through here. So I've drilled a 12mm hole that side, 10mm that side. Stuck the bolts through temporarily. Put the swing arm bolt through. And now the swing arm is essentially in place on here, locked into the position that I would like it here. So what I've done is I've copied, I watched a few videos online where people were showing the measurements that then generally the consensus is to get, I don't know, a 1 3/4 to 2 inch drop on your ride height. You want to go for something along the lines of 8.75 inches or 9 inches hole center to hole center. I know on TJB Customs, their mono strut is listed on the website as being 9 inch from the center hole to center hole. So that's what I've copied here. That gives you the measurement of a drop that I mentioned earlier. So that's ready to be chopped. So what I've done is I've gone 3 inches down from here and then 3 inches up from the weld seam here. Same on both sides. So that sort of gives you like a bit of an alignment profile. And then when you add this bar onto it, you kind of get the idea of what that's going to be. These come oversized, so you can trim these. But essentially these bars are going to go up inside the tubes because these tubes are a wider diameter than the ones supplied. And that is so they can go up inside there. You can do some rosette or plug welds, whatever you want to call them. And then you can also weld around the seam of where this slots up inside. So essentially the next step is going to be making these 4 cuts and then cutting off a part down here. Now I'm not sure how low I want to go with this just yet. So I think I'm going to cut off around, I don't know, 1 inch up from this weld before I make a decision. I think I can probably close it off here, but I know a lot of people tend to cut it off flush here and then cap it. So I'm going to see how that looks. I can always remove more, can't really add more. I can add more, just weld it back on, but in this case I don't really want to be doing that. Yeah, cut this guy off here. I'm going to keep this intact so I can make some measurements later for the seat horizontal part that goes across. So this essentially will end up going across here somewhere where the new tubes go in. That will be for the seat post mounts, and I'm thinking to make some little brackets that hang off that for the bolt-on kit. I don't know if that's going to work yet. I may have to weld the rear fender on, but we'll see. Yeah, so I'm going to get cutting this. Okay, so that cut through really easily. I did get a little trigger happy with my Sawzall. I've cut these parts out. I cut this section out, but I also stupidly cut through here. I've clamped it back up for the time being, but basically this staying in place while you cut this and this here, this one and this one, that keeps your measurement. Now, stupidly, I cut through the other side as well, which would have been fine if I'd have just cut through here, but I didn't. I cut through here, stupidly. So I lost this, this is my measurement point. So all of this was just flopping around and I had no idea where I needed to cut my hardtail bar. So I've clamped this up just to keep that exactly where it was before I cut it. And now I can put the hardtail bar in here, trim it to length, test fit, and make sure I'm happy with it. Right, okay, so where am I up to? I have now got the 2 new struts installed. So this is still in here temporarily, just so I can keep this distance. These guys ready for the plug welds. This one's in here, this one's in here. I've kind of tried to get this as absolutely level as I can. It's looking pretty good right now, so I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to do a couple of tacks and just tiny little welds in here, mainly because I don't own a TIG welder, and my main concern with modifying the frame is obviously safety, so I want the strongest welds possible. Now there's a fabrication place not far from where I live, so they said they'd do it for me for pretty cheap, so they're just going to TIG weld it up. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure these are absolutely spot on to where I want them. I'm also going to get the crossbar installed, this guy. So this is going to go across, I don't know, here somewhere. I have to judge that with the seat pan, because this is going to support the the weld-on seat posts, which again mount the seat springs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack weld these just to keep this in place, so when I remove this strut nothing flops about. This can now be cut off, because once these are in place that can go. And then it will just be a case of doing that crossbar, and then the weld-on seat posts, I'm going to tack those on, and then the fabrication place is going to TIG weld the whole lot up for me. And then I will I'll have the peace of mind knowing that this thing isn't going to absolutely collapse on me when I'm halfway down the motorway. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then I will crack on with the crossbar. Also, I should mention, don't weld in a t-shirt. It's not a good idea. Don't also weld in trainers, because you will end up with holes in them, especially if you're MIG welding, like I am. Okay, there we go. Just some tiny little tack welds in a couple of the little rosette holes, plug holes, what you want to call them. These aren't going to rotate or twist when I put it in the car now. This is a fire blanket. I had one laying around, so I've also got a fire extinguisher in here, but this was surplus to requirements, and it really helps me stop setting things on fire. And the spatter doesn't go absolutely everywhere. So this is, I don't know what it's made of, but it definitely helps. So basically, now that these are in, these are literally only to tack this on. So when I put it in the car and take it to the fabricators, it doesn't just move around and fall apart. Again, it looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with the positioning of the bars. This guy's still smoking. Yeah, so the next thing will be putting the crossbar in. Well, I suppose the next thing will be putting the seat pan on and then figuring out where the crossbar goes. Yeah, but this is looking pretty good now. I guess I can take that middle section out. This can go now. This centre bit, this mono strut in the middle is no longer serving a purpose. So that can come out. And then, yeah, moving forward. Right. Now it is time to install, where is it? This guy. The seat crossbar thing. It's going to go in here. It's going to need trimming it a little bit. In order to figure out where this goes, what I think I'm probably going to do is take the frame down, put it on the floor, put the back wheel in, and then I'll probably attach the seat pan kit and get an idea where the seat's going to go, so then I know where the weld-on seat posts are going to fit once I've got that bar in place. Yeah, so let me get this down and set up. I'm going to use my little jack again, because obviously there's no front end. I'm going to put the back wheel on, get the front leveled out, and then, yeah, go from there. Right, I didn't use my jack in the end because I couldn't get the height right. It's pretty much too high. So what I've done is I measured the height of this bike when it's upright, and it was approximately 8 inches. So what I've got here is just some bits to hold that 8 inches off the ground. It's slightly, ever so slightly high. It's not too bad though. It's good enough for what I need to use it for. Back wheels on, and I've also put the seat pan kit on. I've just sort of loosely tightened this bolt up here, loosely tightened these, and then this is kind of going to sit here somewhere. But I guess that's what I'm figuring out now. So I'm going to get that crossbar measured up and then fit in between here. And then hopefully this will then sit on there with the springs somewhere and give me a better idea where all this is going to sit once it's done. One of the main issues I've got that I've realised is there's no sprocket or chain on this. So I don't really know where this wheel is going to be sort of when it's you know, the chain's tensioned properly on the bike. Obviously there's no also no engine in there to actually wrap a chain around. I do have an old chain. Where is it? Behind me here. That's from that bike, and I actually used that to torque up the clutch bolt on this guy, on the engine. So yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with some sort of plan. I think what I'm gonna have to do actually is probably take this guy off, get this crossbar, which is still on the bench over there, get this crossbar cut to size, or at least roughly cut to size, and then try it back on the bike. This is gonna go, I don't know, here somewhere, I think. It's looking pretty nice. Even with just a wheel and half a seat, it looks pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing this thing all together. Oh, there we go. Bit of angle grinding. That fits pretty good. I still need to put the seat pan on just to test the distance back here. But I mean, that fits pretty nice where I had it before. It's really loose, so I'm not touching it. It's like I've just managed to get it sort of balanced in there, sort of slightly wedged in there. Oh, never mind, it's gone. Okay, yeah, so basically what I did was I sort of angled around these little bits in each side. That obviously lets it slide up into this bar, if I can get it. Ooh, it's hard with one hand. But essentially that slides up in here. I might have to do a little bit of hand filing, but that sits quite nicely in there. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I am going to reattach this seat and then see where this sits on the bike here. So I'll do that now. Now hopefully this little bar doesn't fall out as I'm doing this, but I'm pretty sure it will. This seat pan's quite heavy. This is like, I don't know, 3 or 4 mil thick steel plate. Let's just do this guy up, because what I would like to do is once I've got this in the right place, I'd like to tack it in place with the welder, and then tack on the posts, the seat posts. That looks pretty good. I'm not too. It might need to come back a tiny bit, but yeah, about there I think. But at that point, it's slightly too loose to be jammed in. So I think what I'm going to have to do is probably get my welding magnets just to hold this guy in place. Because I don't have enough arms, so I'm going to get them now and then do that. Okay, welding magnet number 1. This one I've used, so it's covered in stuff. If I just click that on there. This one I've not used at all, so it's still in the box. Let's get this guy out nice and clean. Right. So just get that guy there. Looks pretty good to me. See if I can get these things balanced on here. This is all very precarious. They fit quite nice, but what do I need? I need the bolts. I've not really thought this through and done this in the right order really. I'm going to stop there. So in here we have got the bolts which go through here. Right, those bolts are on. So now if I need the springs, I can get the springs. I think I've got everything now. Springs. So if I now balance these here, how does this look? I mean, this is the dumbest way of trying to do this, really, let's be honest. Trying to balance everything, nothing's secured. It's all pretty stupid, really. I just want to get a look at it. Okay. That has to go about there. That has to go about there. I mean, that's plenty of height between the wheel and the bottom of the seat. I'm not really sure how these springs are supposed to sit, really. They look a bit loose. I assume that's fine. Ooh. Now I kind of want to get this so there's enough space between the wheel and that crossbar. This is almost right at the back of the adjuster at the moment, so if this wheel has to go forward, it's going to hit that bar. So I feel like I'll probably need to move that forwards a little bit. Yeah, because at the moment I've got just under an inch of clearance between the tyre and that bar, so I imagine that probably has to come forward. I'm going to try and do that without annihilating all of this, but don't think that's going to happen, if I'm going to be honest. I think it's all just going to collapse as soon as I move it, no doubt. Ooh, yeah. Okay, let's do the smart thing and just put those down. It's hard to get these things centered because the springs don't really center on the bolts. They just sort of straddle them a little bit. They're not really, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's like the springs are almost too big for the, I mean, these bolts are probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 mil in diameter, and then the holes that go in the top of the springs are like 15 mil, maybe more than that. So every time you move the spring, or the spring rotates, it shifts position. This wheel is all the way forward. This bar still has clearance. It's got probably, well, if it stops moving around, it's got about half an inch, something like that, half an inch of clearance. I should probably shove something down there, really. I've got a pen. There you go. I've got a Sharpie's diameter of clearance when the wheel is all the way forward. That's probably enough because this wheel is never going to be this far forward. So I feel like that'll probably be okay. Yeah, so I think if I mark these up and just do a little tack weld here, tack weld there, then it will probably make the little posts easier to position. I'll do a bit of measuring, make sure that's parallel, and then I'll probably tack it in place. There we go. That's just tacked in. I mean, it's just a dirty weld, really. Like I said, this is all going to get welded up professionally by a steel fabricator place that's around the corner from me. They're going to do this properly, but all I wanted was it to be in the right position for when I chuck it in the car and then take it down there. So this wheel can go all the way to the front end of this, and it doesn't hit that bar. There's still probably, I don't know, 1/3 of an inch or something like that between the edge of the tyre and the start of the bar. This measures 8 1/4 inches. This one is 8 1/4, so I'm pretty happy with that. I guess if I take a measurement from there, that's from the centre of the bolt hole, that's 12 1/2. Centre of the bolt hole, 12 1/2. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. So now if I put everything back on, put the seat back on, probably put the tank back on just temporarily. Now that this is tacked in place, I should be able to tack on those seat post, weld on seat posts, and then that is pretty much, well, apart from I've got to grind this away, this little bit down here. I've also got to weld in the battery box. But frame wise, once I've got the seat posts welded on, this will be ready to go off to be welded properly, and then I can do my own crappy welds, stuff that doesn't really matter that much, like the battery box and just little, you know, brackets here and there. I did buy the bolt-on fender kit for this, which is this here. Now this bolts onto this piece which I've chopped off. I'm kind of wondering whether I can make some brackets for these guys to come off of. Right, how did this go? I think it bolted on something like this, bolted on underneath, and then held the fender on here. Now that's gone now, so these I'm not sure I'm actually going to use on this. Either that, or I will make some little brackets here that this can bolt onto. That's probably my best option now. But yeah, there's the clearance between the bar and the tyre. That is with this all the way here. Now that's never going to be like that in real life. It's when the chain on and it's tensioned, it's probably going to be more like something here, and that's a decent amount of gap there. That's probably just over an inch, something like that. So these might work. I might have to make some little brackets just to sit on the front there for this bit to bolt onto. Then that will hold the fender here. Yeah, I mean that's looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. Yeah, it's not bad at all. But yeah, we're a little way off fitting that just yet, so I'm not too concerned about it right now. So I'm going to get the tank and the seat pan back on, and then I'm probably going to tack weld those little seat posts in place. Okay, I think I've got these in place now. They're as central as I can get them. They're still a bit wobbly, but maybe they'll tighten up once I've got the actual post welded in. I did try these original springs that I had from the bike bits that all came in that crate. They fit really nice. I can bolt them to the seat pan and they fit nicely over the top of the post, but the problem I had with them is that they completely bottom out when I sit on the bike. I can squash these with my hands. These ones I can't compress at all with my hands, so I feel like these are much stronger than these, but I just wish these ones had the sort of the security of sort of these ones, like, because these do wobble around on this post, and up here they're just sort of sat there. I don't know if I'll be able to secure them a bit better with, you know, once they're in place, but I'm going to weld them on now. Well, I'm going to tack these on. Again, the fabricator is going to weld all this stuff up for me, but once these are tacked on, I should be able to sit on this without it going crazy. At the moment, if I sit on these, everything just falls off, so I'm just going to weld these, tack these little seat posts on, and then see how it feels to sit on. There we go, that's those tacked into place. Again, ugliest welds ever, but these are only temporary, just to hold these things in place so I can transport them to the fabricators without it all just exploding. I've had a little sit on them. They're okay. They're a little wobbly. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit of I don't know, a little bit of adjustment, but all I wanted was these posts to be in place, so now I can take all this stuff off, take the frame over to the fabricators, and they'll TIG weld the whole lot up for me. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about these springs. I may see if I can get some bigger versions of these, because I much prefer these on here to these. These are incredibly wobbly. So I'm not 100% sure how I'm supposed to... Oh, that's hot. Hot. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to keep these secure. And also, you can just lift this seat straight up and off of the springs. Yeah, I'll look into it. I'll do a bit of homework. I might see if I can get some bigger, stronger versions of these that don't bottom out when I sit on them. These are obviously shallower than the springs here, so perhaps I can get some larger ones. We'll see. But yeah, that's all I'm going to do today, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with all of this. This is all now ready to go to be welded up properly. Not my awful welds. I'm glad I'm not welding this up, you know, to be roadworthy, because it would fall apart the minute I took it on the road, I imagine, if I'd done it myself. I've only got like a little gasless MIG. It's no good for safety structural stuff like this, so I'd rather get it done professionally. As if I had a TIG welder and I knew how to use it, I'd be more comfortable doing it. But as it stands, I don't have one. I've never actually used one. I think I'll probably have to take some sort of, you know, welding training course or something like that, just have a go, get a feel for it, and then maybe I'll do that in the future for this bike, possibly. But as it stands, this is now ready to go to the welders. They'll sort it all out. Once that's done, I can crack on with actually assembling the thing, putting the engine in and all that other stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how this has gone today. I will probably catch you in the next one.